The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
Colleen Klimczak is down here at the 9-foot Homemade Oak Bar. You've heard her before. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
And we're going to talk a little bit about something I'm trying to organize in my house right now because you're a professional organizer.
Awesome.
But first, Colleen has been, I don't know, I don't want to say giggling because I think that you...
I giggle.
Well, no, I think that if I said you're giggling at my injury,
oh, that sounds
people
like
would think badly of you. And I don't think you're giggling at my injury, but you have kind of like, I mean, you're like, oh, that's Chris. He hurt himself again. That's kind of like, I mean, like, here comes another dumb thing that happened to Chris. Because I played in a 16-inch softball tournament this past weekend.
Awesome.
And I'm 46 years old. And I think I'm 26. And I did everything I thought right. Like, I once hurt my Achilles. And so I do all these stretches. And I've hurt my hamstring before. And I do all these stretches. In fact, there was a young guy who walked by who made fun of me and some of the older guys while we were stretching. Because all the old guys lay down on the grass and like lean up against the fence and we're trying to stretch out before we play.
Someday that will be him.
Yeah, I know. And what happened to me would be a word of caution because here's the problem.
Cautionary.
I'm playing with these younger guys. We win the first game. By the way, village trustee Norm Anderson and his team won the championship.
Wow.
Of all the teams. I saw the picture online of it.
Amazing.
Okay.
Awesome.
My team captain is standing on somebody's shoulders behind the team picture, just trying to get himself into the shot, which is funny. But like, we did not win. So we win the first game. It was a good game.
Awesome.
I had a couple of hits in that game. I was feeling good. But like, it just felt like all year long, I had to use my legs, which is funny because if you've met me, you're thinking right now, Chris can run. But I can.
I'm not thinking any of those things, Chris. No.
And I've lost 30 pounds in the last
I know
6-7 months. So like, I mean, I'm getting a lot better with my health and everything else like that.
I get it.
And I can run. And in game 2, late in the game, I put a ball down the third base line and I was like, there is no way that they are throwing me out because we were trailing.
Dedication.
And as my foot hit the base, I just felt my right hamstring explode. It was like one of those things where you could almost hear the audible pop. I totally felt the pop. I looked like a sniper took me out from on the other side of the field. Just like
potatoes.
No, I mean I hit the base, tumbled, and laid there.
Oh no!
And then I just was like, and I knew. I was like, I can't get up on my own. Like I knew. I just laid there until somebody came to check on me. Like, are you okay, man? No, I'm not.
No, you didn't hear that?
Help me up.
Excuse me?
Help me up. Now here's the funny part about it. When you reach your 40s, if you are stupid enough to still play sports while you're drinking with your friends and the other men in the neighborhood.
No comment.
You have all the wraps waiting in your closet.
Oh, that's true.
I do.
That's very organized of you.
I have wrist guards, I have slings, and I have wraps for different parts of my body. And I have something that wraps around my thigh in case I hurt my hamstring.
Oh, man.
So all it was finding the proper wrap, icing, just applying the wrap. Like my daughter was like, where did you get this from? I'm like, when Daddy hurt himself 5 years ago.
We have a bin in the closet, honey. Hopefully you'll never have to use it, but it's got all the things.
Right. I told her, I'm like, there's a bin filled with things for when Dad hurts himself.
Oh, gosh.
And everything. I mean, it takes care. I got ankle things, elbow things, wrist things, thigh things, calf things, stomach things. Like you name it. I have a brace for everything. I have one for when you hurt, like she pulled out this boot. She's like, what's this for? I'm like, that's for when Dad hurt his Achilles. It stretches it in a certain direction.
Oh, yeah.
She goes, what is this boot for? That is when Dad's ankle twist.
Oh.
Completely different boot. Like, it was funny because she went in the back of the closet and she was like, there are so many.
She had no idea until that time that there were so many different, that there was a medical supply stash.
Right, that's just for her father.
In the back of the closet.
Right. Just for her father.
Very organized. Except for the whole, so I'm not laughing at you.
Right.
You know that.
You're laughing at the absurdity that I hurt myself. I know.
Man.
Yeah. And
he's
we lost
moving
the game.
very slowly, everyone. You can't see him, but he's just moving very slowly.
Yes, I am.
Steadily.
The older kids are concerned. The younger kid is taking advantage of me.
Because that's how it works.
Oh, he told me he came out of his room this morning with a tiny little cough on a Monday morning. And I was like, yeah, you don't need to go. Because I didn't want to get in the car and drag my leg in there. And he knew it.
Which leg?
My right leg is what's hurt, right?
Oh,
so
no.
I was like,
the driving leg?
Yeah, and I was like, I don't really feel like driving, and he's got a cough, so he gets to stay home. And he totally took advantage of me. I don't think I've heard a cough in 4 or 5 hours from him. You know,
I haven't.
Absolute joke.
Recording.
No.
Okay.
He just sat down and started playing video games. He had a day off. He took advantage of his father. He saw his father was injured, dove right in there. This episode of the EP Podcast brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park, who invests in the Evergreen Park community. After all, they love this area as much as you do. They have a total access checking account where you get free ATMs nationwide and a $300 bonus with qualifying activities. I walked into a bar up on Western Avenue a week ago to see my brother-in-law, and they're only cash. And then they have an ATM with a giant charge on the ATM. Imagine paying for that, and then the bank that you have charges you for using an ATM that's not theirs. That does not happen with the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Using my account at the First National Bank of Evergreen Park, that fee that I was charged at the bar gets put back in, and that's what makes the ATMs free nationwide. They also don't have any overdraft charges. Stop in and see them in that iconic building in 95th and Pulaski, the First National Bank of Evergreen Park, member FDIC. There is a festival coming to Evergreen Park like you've never seen before. The organizers on this show a little bit later on, Colleen Klimczak sitting with us right now. I am working on my kitchen right now.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I think the thing is that when you're organizing a kitchen, you realize there's an awful lot of dishes, pots, pans, glasses, things that you never use.
No. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even in this bar, you look around this bar, it's a ridiculous amount of bar glasses. I could host 300 people and they could all have their own glassware. I have a ridiculous amount of glassware and I don't need it down here. It's just like every time, you know, somebody gives me a gift, I go to some place, all my vacation spots, there's a glass, there's a pint glass, there's something, right?
Yep.
And so I have way too much of that. You go upstairs, we don't need 25 wine glasses, but there is a cupboard with nothing but wine glasses. And I'm like, we are never going to have a wine party here. So what do you do? Do you pack it? Is that stupid? Because to me, I don't think I'm ever going to use it. I feel like I should just be throwing it out.
So one thing to think about is that once these glasses become decor, you need to decide if they truly are decor or if you actually want to use them again someday. Because sometimes, like, we bring home a shot glass from vacation or a coffee mug or something like that, right? So then we decide if we leave them on the decorative shelf here to my left.
But I drink off the decorative shelf because otherwise they get dust in them. So I make myself use those on the decorative shelf.
Okay, so you are using them on a regular basis.
Yeah, because otherwise I have to clean more. And I'm just trying to cut down work.
I like that. So I just redid my meal planning / kitchen organizing presentation. I've actually given it twice in the last couple weeks. So this is so timely. I'm so excited about this. But I ask a question, and every once in a while I'll get somebody who cringes in the class because they are guilty of such things. So here's the question, and I call it mug math. But you could absolutely take the coffee mug out of the question and make it wine glass math.
Right. Well, we have too many coffee mugs. We have too much of everything.
Okay. So mug math.
I got me and 3 kids in this house. I don't know why I need more than 4 plates. I don't know why I need more than 4 forks, 4 knives, 4 spoons.
You have friends, or you don't want to wash dishes every time
so I'll double
something
it
gets
up
dirty.
then.
Right. Okay. So mug math is exactly what you're saying. Exactly what you're talking about. So in my class, I will say how many people drink coffee in my house. That would be 1. That's me. How many cups of coffee do I drink a day? 2. I have 2 cups of coffee. Of course, I use the same cup twice, but to do the math. And then how often do we run the dishwasher? And in our case, we run it like maybe every other day. So technically, I need 4. Of course, I have more than 4. But do I have 40?
Yeah.
No, right? Or if I do, like maybe I do, I don't have them all in my kitchen, but so maybe I have, and that's not even a maybe. So I have probably 10 in the cabinet, like my go-to cabinet. And then I have the ones that go up on the top shelf with like the good stuff when we have people over, right? And then everything else, like if I have Christmas ones or if I have Easter ones, those are not in my kitchen right now.
Right.
Those are boxed up and they're downstairs in the crawl space with the holiday stuff. So deciding for yourself, it's the question of duplicates, really. Deciding for yourself, how many is enough? How many is too many? Do you really want to dedicate an entire cabinet in your kitchen for something you don't use very often? And if the answer is no, then by all means decide, 12 is a reasonable number. 8 is a reason. I don't care.
Is it a thing where you become attached to them? Mostly,
of course.
Basically where other people become pack rats. That's what I feel like happens, right? So,
Yes.
like, we got these really great mugs from my buddy Bill, who's the primary owner over at Cork and Carry.
Nice.
And he does stuff with us. And he
Okay.
gave me these 2 just gorgeous ceramic mugs that they were doing a promotion with. But he was like, "Here, take a couple."
Sure.
And because I work with all these different businesses, he's like,
Yeah.
"Here, take a couple. They're beautiful mugs." They basically say something like, "Might be coffee, might be whiskey," and I'm like, I love these things. And they're just awesome.
You never know.
Now
Okay, I
they're
love it.
being used by me or the kids more than any of the other mugs. Meanwhile, ones that we got years ago,
Yeah.
nobody's using anymore. And I
Nobody
keep thinking to
uses-
myself, like, all right, I mean, I don't think that there's a need. Like, it's not like, like donate your coffee mugs to the poor. I mean, I should just be throwing
You
them
can
away.
absolutely
What
donate them,
What are they
though.
doing with them? They
No, you
need
can
coffee
donate
mugs.
them, yeah.
I mean, I need a place where I can just drop off this stuff because I feel
Got
bad
it.
throwing it away.
No, that's fair.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like I have things that are useful, but I'm just never going to get to it again. And that's the thing. And then they become a mug that I throw like change into, or a mug that I throw pens into. And then I got too many pen mugs and too many change mugs. And
Yes.
yeah, you see?
Yes, I do.
It's a
Oh my-
never-ending cycle of just awfulness.
I really do have to laugh because now that we're talking about mugs and I'm sitting down here at the
Right.
9-foot
There's
homemade
mugs all over
bar,
the bar.
there are mugs.
There are. There's an Oktoberfest mug down there. There's this other mug here from Lagunitas. There's a mug that's not really a mug. It's a puzzle sitting down
It
there.
is.
Right.
I like it. It looks like a mug of beer.
When you have a bar, it becomes where everything is collected.
And I get that. Like we do have duplicates. And isn't that nice that people think of you and like you and share things? And that's awesome. But we also have to decide just what we want to keep
Right.
around. So you asked a couple different questions. So
We only had time for the answer to one, so give me the good one.
Oh boy. Okay. So what to do with them?
Then you can answer all these questions on Your Organized Life, which is your own podcast. See, there's your plug.
Oh,
You were waiting for it.
nicely
Last time
done.
Colleen was on, I plugged her show and she got a bunch of
I
listeners.
did get a bunch of listeners. So if you're new, welcome and thank you.
It's called Your Organized Life, where Colleen just tries to organize your life. Every time I listen to it, I feel guilty about how unorganized I am.
Stop.
And
You're
it
doing
forces
fine.
me to be more organized.
But look at the question you just asked.
Yeah.
It's a very organized question. And your medical paraphernalia is very organized. So, okay. So one question. So what you asked about is what to do with them. I'm always going to suggest donate. There's always, I know that here in Evergreen Park, there's a couple different community groups. There's one in Beverly. There's one in Homewood or Hometown that have like collections for home things, like home towels, sheets, like getting people reestablished in their homes. You can absolutely drop it, not in a box, obviously, but carefully over at the Goodwill. Right? There's one of those close by. When it's the fragile stuff, you don't want to just throw it in one of the collection boxes. It's not going to
Yeah, if I throw
well.
a bunch of mugs and glasses in the collection
it's
box,
not
just
gonna-
a collection box full of glass.
When you toss it in there and it all clinks,
Right.
you're like, oh, that's not good.
Right.
That's not a good thing. It's not going to end well. But, you also have children that might, like I have 3 that one college and then 2 out. Maybe they needed some mugs or, and I have,
That's a great idea.
right?
I'm going to bring them over to you. You can give them to your kids.
No.
Excellent idea,
no,
Colleen.
We
I'm
have
bringing
plenty.
the mugs to you. Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country Financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them. Tina Ward is down here, Mary Black is down here, and the two of them, well, they're librarians. One is from Evergreen Park Library, and then Tina, you are technically from over at the high school, right? Do I have that right?
You are right.
Okay.
Thank
Look at
you,
that.
sir.
I'm on my librarian game.
Yes, you are on your librarian game today, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Frank Murray would be very proud of me
Yes,
that
he
I know
would.
I know the whole library scene. It's like a scene too. We've talked about that. You and
Yes,
I have talked about
we've
that,
talked
Tina.
about that. Yep.
It's a scene. Like all these librarians, they all know each other. Things are moving from one library to another. It's not just about books. It's events and different things that you're trying to get out to the public, and you
Absolutely.
work with each other to put these different events together, right?
Oh my gosh, we work together all the time for different events, but we've got one coming up soon.
Well, this is cool. So I like this idea because I have picked on Frank Murray, the director of the Evergreen Park Library, for this, that every time he has a big name author, they're on a Zoom. Or he just doesn't he's like, so-and-so, their book. And I'm like, oh, are they coming to talk? No, this other person that helped him with the book. And I'm like, well, come on, Frank, let's step it up a little bit. So it looks like what you guys are doing is trying to raise some money to bring in name authors and things like to kind of like up the game around here. Take me through what you're looking to do.
That is correct. So I'm going to actually this is Mary. She had this idea, which was awesome. And other high schools and other places have done this. And we just kind of felt like we needed this for our community because really bringing big name authors, as you said, Chris, is a draw for kids to connect the face to the name of that person who created this awesome book that they might like. Or
well, it's crazy. My daughter, like just the other day, wanted to go to Naperville to go see some author of a series that she's reading. And she's like, it's $30-some. I said, you're going to spend $30-some for a ticket to go see an author, and then you're going to drive to Naperville for the day? I was like, when I was younger, I would have spent my $38 to see the Smashing Pumpkins at the Metro. And I probably would have gotten 2 tickets for $38. And she's going to see an author. So
Yes.
like, again, this is like, kids are, I think, their interests, the things that they'll spend their money on, the things that they want to do, I think are far more wide ranging than when I was a teenager.
I would think so. And I think more so, Chris, and I think we talked about this one other time. Like, I know Mary and I talked about this since COVID. I mean, it's always been a big thing, but since COVID, kids want books. And I think they want those personal connections with people, right?
Yeah.
So here's our opportunity to really make not just one author, because we do a lot. You've said so, right? The public library does a lot. The high school, we bring in at least 1 to 2 authors a year. But now can we bring in 6, 7, 8, as many authors as we can and have these panel discussions and just really connect the kids with the books.
That's awesome.
And the different types of books.
Right. You got things like you see kids show up to things like C2E2. I went and saw C2E2 with my daughter and they it's like a thing where it's all like, it's not just comics, it's not just cosplay, it's not just entertainment. There were all these panels for authors. Yep. And it was interesting to see that the younger generation wants to get in there and learn all about. So Mary, take me through this.
Well, we've got a great vision and a great mission, but we need financial support. We are trying to raise $20,000.
Me too.
To bring these
not for books. I'm just trying to raise $20,000 for the house here.
To bring these great authors to Evergreen Park.
So our vision, Mary came up with this idea, like literacy rates, unfortunately, even though we talk about how kids, I think, want books more, the hard truth is that I think reading scores are going down, right? Because they're looking at their phones, they're on social, they're not actually engaged as many as we'd like. So our hope is now to expand that and let's engage more students because the studies are there, right? The more you read, the better you're going to do.
Right.
That's just life.
I completely understand that. Like, I wish that my 15-year-old would pick up books more for enjoyment. That's not what he wants to do. He ran through his summer reading stuff for Rice, though, and he liked the books, and he wanted to talk to me about the ones that he read, and I had read them before. But I mean, it was like, so I was able to have those conversations with him. But he's not like his sister, who's got an actual bookcase in her room, filled with her favorite authors. And I'm like, that is something I wish I could get more out of. So how do you get kids? Besides, like, bribing them like you did this summer at the EP library. But like, is that how you do it? You bribe them?
No, but we think that this Lit Fest will help stop the scroll and get books back in their hands.
Stop the scroll. I like that, Mary. That's a nice little...
Is that a t-shirt now? Are we going to do that?
I think it is.
Stop
the scroll.
Look around so many places and you'll see adults as well. I mean, I'm guilty of it and we're scrolling around on our phones and we could be reading.
Right. So as Mary pointed out, though, we had this vision of this Lit Fest, first and foremost, is open to not just Evergreen residents. It is actually open up to the broader community.
And the Lit Fest is going to be the thing that raises the money.
Wait,
Am I getting that correctly?
No.
So you have to raise the money to pay for
have
the
the
Lit
Lit
Fest.
Fest.
So how are you raising the money?
Well, that's what we're doing.
You're on the EP podcast.
We're on the
you,
EP
you need-
podcast
you need me to
right
give,
now,
You need me to give
people.
out, is this a telethon and I wasn't
Yes.
aware of it? Like, how do
yeah, right. Get the phones going.
How do they do that? How do they donate for the Lit Fest?
Go ahead, Mayor.
So both of our websites have pages that you can link to for sponsorship. And we really do need sponsorship from individuals more than businesses to get this done. We need everybody on board.
And then the festival would be when? When when do you envision it happening?
Well, no, the festival, not envision. It will occur.
It
It
will
is
occur.
happening.
It's happening.
Saturday,
So
March
you people
16th.
better start donating because they're having a festival.
We are
They haven't
having
even
a
paid
fest.
for it yet. Man, oh man, you guys, this is intense. We're having a festival.
We're having a fest.
We need $20K for the festival. Please donate. By the way, the festival date is already set.
Yes.
That's
Wow,
right.
that's like a movie. That's like I think that's the Wayne's World one. What was that? Wayne's World 2 where he tries to have the Lollapalooza or whatever he did? Wayne-a-palooza? This is what we're having here.
We're having except ours is Lit Fest.
Lit Fest.
Yes, no paloozas of anything. But yes, it will be on March 16th at the high school, at Evergreen Park Community High School. The time is yet to be determined, but it will be a day event with these various authors. And what we're really hoping to get is a few key big name authors. National authors and then local authors. So already we've got James Kleiss, Joe Mino, local authors who speak to young adults. But we're hoping, because our summer read this summer at Evergreen Park, one of the books was A Most Beautiful Thing, which is a memoir written by Arshay Cooper, and is about the very first Chicago African-American rowing team.
Okay.
That from Manly High School from 1999, on the west side of Chicago, he got involved with rowing because some young man came in and said, I think this is what maybe some inner city kids need.
I think if
Keep
anybody
them
came
safe and off the
if
street.
anybody in Chicago came up with rowing, I'd be like, where are we rowing at?
Yes.
Because right? I mean, like I have a cousin who is married to a guy who went to Georgetown, lived on the East Coast, sails, and was on the rowing team. And that's normal to them. That's
Right.
like playing football out there. That's not a normal thing here.
Right.
No,
The
not at
crew
all.
is not normal in this area.
No.
It is, though. I mean, he talks about competing against Loyola Academy, St. Ignatius. So these were schools that had actual crew teams and rowing crews there. And this is completely unheard of in the city of Chicago. And so they row at Lincoln Park. But it's his memoir. And that memoir, I tell you what, is a memoir that my students gravitated to, and I can't keep a copy of on the shelf.
Interesting.
So we're really trying to get Arshay Cooper to be our guest speaker.
Okay.
Right? So let's tie it in, right? The city, this, kind of the struggles he went through as a kid growing up on the west side, and then how rowing really saved his life.
And it's not just for the high school kids. Did I catch that
No,
correctly?
it's
Anybody
for-
can come to Lit Fest. Anybody
Right.
can come and check out what's going on here.
Yes.
I think every once in a while when there's
Absolutely.
something over at the high school, everybody just assumes, well, it's a high school event.
Correct.
Right. And this is going to be a festival for all Evergreen Park surrounding area. Come and check out the Lit Fest in March.
Correct.
Right.
Yes. It is a YA, young adult literature, Lit Fest. But YA
I'll wear
is,
my hat backwards.
Yes. I
and
mean,
carry a
you're
skateboard.
good. You're good to go.
Hello,
with the
fellow
way that-
young people. What are we talking about today?
But I feel like a lot of adults read young adult
Yeah,
literature.
of course
So that's
they
why
do.
it's
Listen,
for...
Twilight was a young adult book.
Right.
That a lot of middle-aged women gravitated to. I read The Hunger Games, so please, as I'm picking on you,
A
you should
YA
understand.
book right
It's
there.
it's a YA series, and I read The Hunger Games, and I was like, this Katniss is kind of badass. Like I was kind of into it, right? Like, so there are things that so I get it. Adults will go and they'll gravitate towards that. So there are people out there that want to meet these authors and discuss it as well.
Right, exactly. And that's what so we just need to bring the authors in.
So there's sponsorship forms on our website. There's also paper forms in the library.
Is it the library website?
evergreenparklibrary.org, and it'll be under the events tab.
Okay.
And mine is evergreenpark.org under the library webpage, under my LRC.
Right. And
All
it's
right.
the Ever Read YA Lit Fest.
And by next week, I will have on the eppodcast.com just a place for you to donate money to me, too. No, I'm just joking. I think it's a great idea. And I do like this. Like, I like the idea of aiming for something bigger. Okay. Because I think that everybody, it's very easy to fall into the idea of this is all we can do. This is all we should be expected to do. And the two of you have sat there and said, no, we can do something bigger. And I'm all for that. I hope that you get all the support that you possibly can and that people, are able to donate away and you're able to get these authors, right? That you can wave enough cabbage in their face to get them to come out and speak.
Yes, you would be amazed at some of the fees because unfortunately a lot of these authors have to travel.
You would be amazed at the fees to get bands to play concerts. I remember when I was booking when we were at radio stations, when I was in radio and booking concerts, like the worst band was still like $5,000. You'd be like, they have one song. What are they going to play for the rest of the time that they're up on stage that anybody knows? So you always thought that was kind of crazy when you saw what people. So it is a big fee to get somebody to come speak at your place.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Right. At least what we're shooting for, right, Mary? There's some other, and the level of sponsorship, Mary has a really good breakdown. So you can even sponsor the author, or you can sponsor another author, or any little bit helps. I mean,
every bit helps.
We're talking, we're trying to get some swag in, trying to get the books, there's so much stuff we're trying to get together.
We would also love that every kid who attends gets a coupon for a free book. That's a big goal,
our big goal too.
We really want to put books in their hands.
I like it. I think it's cool. All right. So go to the websites, make your donations, mark it down in March. You said it's 16th?
March 16th.
You're putting it the day before St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, I am. So
it's not like that month isn't busy enough. You're having a literary fest.
You got to read before you head out to the festivities.
All right. Well, Mary, Tina, thanks so much. And if you need anything as you're getting this going, just let me know.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks,
we appreciate
Chris.
having us.
It is now time for your EP podcast, Word on the Street, brought to you by the brand new Spoken Vine Wine Bar and Bottle Shop, northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie. All kinds of new Italian wines in there. The food is spectacular. Try the bacon wrap dates. It's a 21 and over establishment. Plan an adult night out. See more at SpokenVineWines.com. Evergreen Park's Oktoberfest returns on October the 7th. This is their third annual Oktoberfest. The EP podcast will be out there. In fact, it looks like a lot of people are going to be out there. Finneys, Baraccos, Durbans, Happy Jacks, Porter Cullens, Spoken Vine, who we just mentioned. They got the Wild Daisy Band. They got the Stein Hoisting Competition, hosted by yours truly. Pony rides for the kids, petting zoo, bounce houses, and touch a truck. And of course, the beer garden. It's all over at the Community Center, 3450 West 97th Street. It kicks off at 2 in the afternoon and goes until 9 p.m. October the 7th, circle the date, Oktoberfest, Evergreen Park style. Before that, this Saturday, the Evergreen Park Fire Department is holding an open house. Get over there between 10 and 2 p.m. at the firehouse located at 9000 South Kedzie Avenue. All are welcome. If leaves fall on your lawn over the next month or so, you may just want to wait for the community leaf raking event. Saturday, October the 28th at 10 a.m., volunteers will go out and rake leaves for seniors and other residents who are unable to in Evergreen Park. If you have a student needing service hours, get them signed up. And if you want your yard signed up, get over to the Evergreen Park website and sign that up as well. And kids, camp out in the Youth Center for a movie night. Friday, October the 6th. Blankets and sleeping bags are welcome. Open grades 5 through 12. $5 includes hot dog, popcorn, and a drink. You must register, though, by this Friday, September the 29th. And also, now is the time to plan your haunted hayride field trip. Youth Department is going to be taking the kids to the Hayride of Horror in Lockport. 20-minute haunted hayride experience and a bonfire. Register at the Youth Department's grade 5 all the way through high school. $20 cost. Money and permission slip due by Friday the 13th of October. Spooky. More information, call 708-229-3377. Throughout the entire month of September, we've tried to look back at moments or things that we remember in the first 5 years of the EP podcast. But this episode was kind of packed. Now, the look back is brought to you by SidSauce.net. They grow the peppers right here in Evergreen Park. They develop these delicious hot sauces, and they deliver to your door for free. It's the only place I get my hot sauce. Check out all they have to offer at SidSauce.net. But again, 30 minutes of good is full at this point. But I like the people that stop by, and I didn't want to cut into them. So instead what we'll do is we'll just end the show as we did 5 years ago. We'll just wrap it up with the old school ending. I always like this one. Coach Ram is joining us for another Football Friday later on in the week. Make sure you are subscribed to the EP Podcast. Facebook doesn't show it to you all the time. Get in there at the eppodcast.com. Look at all the different options. Never miss an episode. We're found anywhere podcasts can be found and always at the eppodcast.com.
Another show is wrapped up. Another show's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. And then by the looks, it's going to be a good one. And we'll see you next week. And the nude is basement. And the nude is basement. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And it's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. Nudie's Basement. Broadcast Basement. The Nudie's Basement. The Broad Basement. Slancha. That was like Dropkick Murphys or something, right? I felt like it.